How much pride do you take in still having the advantage of game-winning shots in your career over Jordan, even though he had the one last year?
Yeah, we don't talk about it much, but if he ever brings it up, then I'll definitely have a one-up on him for sure.
What was felt like you guys kind of figured out or were better with the turnover issues in Vegas last week? So what do you feel like went wrong against Syracuse in that regard?
Man, just as you go back and you watch the film, um, it was a lot of different things. Whether it was offensive fouls, whether if it was miscues on passing, just like random turnovers, catching and passing or handing off and stuff like that. And so, the only thing you really can attribute to is just like lack of focus, lack of attention to detail, and something that we've been intentional on cleaning up, and it's kind of reared its ugly head again, but it's definitely something we're focusing on, and something we feel like we can take full control over. It was more of us than them forcing us into those turnovers. So definitely something we could clean up.
What do you think's been? Go ahead. What do you think's been the switch for Jalen Carey? Maybe even starting in Las Vegas, getting more minutes, more effective near the rim. What's been that switch for him?
Yeah, I mean Jalen's a good player, and we knew that when we signed him. We knew that when we played against him, and we see flashes of it in practice. And so I think with Jay he's a quiet guy, but he absorbs everything, he takes in everything, and he's real with himself, and it didn't necessarily always take us pointing out some of the things where he needed to improve in. And the great thing about Coach is that he's not going to compromise. Like you got to get to the standard, you got to get to the level, and Jalen appreciated that, and that's why Jalen wanted to be here. And so in turn it makes him better. And so excited for his performance there. Thought he played well in Vegas. Now he's got to keep it going, and maintain that level of consistency, which we know he can. And it's not just game to game, it's day to day, practice to practice, every single day bringing it. And if he does that, he'll be the player that he wants to be and that we all need him to be.
Rick talked about Nate pressing. What does pressing look like for a guy like Nate, and how do you kind of coach him into doing the things he does well without pressing into those things?
I'm not sure, what Coach meant by pressing. He just has to, I would say just figure out how to make plays within the flow of the offense. A lot of times when you get guys that are naturally talented and gifted as Nate is, and you get to this level and the competition is a little different, right? The size is like size, and now you within a system with other good players, right? You got to kind of figure out how to play within the system, within the flow of everything. And so that's something that he's learning, and I think up until this point, I mean, he's been great, you know what I'm saying? And so it's always a learning, it's always room to get better, room to improve. And the thing I love about Nate is he owns everything, he owns it, whether he's making shots or not missing shots. He's probably the toughest on himself than anybody, than Coach, than me, than anybody. And so, he's going to continue to improve. I think every game for him that he gets under his belt, he learns something. He's a smart kid, a smart young man, that absorbs things and is real with himself. So, he's continuing to grow. We're excited about his growth, and it's like all players, right? You're gonna have ups and downs, right? You just gotta bounce back from it and learn from it.
So there have been y'all's talking points with Cade and Felix come out of the Syracuse game?
To everybody, do your job, right? Everybody's got a job to do. do your job. And whether it's being the best defender on the floor, being the best help defender on the floor, whether it's rebounding, whether it's the one more pass, making guys better, the message to everybody is do your job and be a star in your role. Whatever your role is, be a star in it.
With that, how beneficial is the front court pairing of Dwayne and Jalen?
It's good. You know, it gives us a change up, right? It changes kind of the flow of things from, you know, when you have Cade and Fee, you know, give you that athletic, twitchy group, and then you bring those two guys in who are really physical. I think they all complement each other, and then you add JP to that mix. I think you got a great group of, you know, of front court depth, and so we're excited about it. We're excited to watch that continue to grow and you know, be impactful.
Is there any update on JP? If he might be available tomorrow night?
No update to this point. So we're just kind of, it's day to day. You know, I thought he, you know, although he didn't practice yesterday, great spirits, very vocal in practice, and you know, moving around a little bit. So, you know, we'll see. But regardless, we got to be ready with whoever comes out there and you know, improve on that performance from the other night.
Is Cade's shoulder an issue at all, or is that something?
I think it's something that's, you know, kind of a lingering thing for him, right? He's you know, I think it's getting better, but he's still limited in some things that he can and can't do. So I don't think it's right now to the point where he can't play, but he's, you know, Cade's tough. He's mentally tough. He's physically tough. He wants to be out there with his teammates. He's going to figure it out.
You have a schedule that's packed with non-conference games. Just how is that preparing the team, the program for the stretch that's ahead?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great, and I think when you come to a place like Tennessee, like that's what you're signing up for. You know, to play in these type of games, and you know, in recruiting, all these guys, we promised them that, hey, we're gonna play on the biggest stage, and we're holding that promise to them. And so I think it you know, not only prepares you for the next games, the games to come, but you know, for conference play, for conference tournament, and also the NCAA tournament. And you hope through those experiences that at the end you're better from it, and that, you know, there's not a situation that you haven't come across, an environment that you haven't come across, and you're ready to adjust.
Maybe building off of that, Jacoby mentioned that this team needs to find a way to play with purpose. What do you think is preventing this team, or why you all are maybe getting in your own way, and how important it is to get out of your own way, especially against Illinois?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for Kobe. I don't know what it exactly means, like play for purpose, or play with purpose. But what I'd say is, you know, this team is still trying to find their identity, right? And different. I hate to talk about past teams, right? But those teams had guys that had been in the program for a while. They had an identity. They knew what their identity was. They were developed in that identity, right? And so I think for this team, you know, going through these tough times, these tough moments, adversity is good for them, you know, and within that they'll find like who they are as individuals and who they are as a team. And so for me, as a coach, like, I think we've been clear with the communication of the purpose. The purpose is to get better every game, to play team selfless basketball, and to be the hardest playing team in the country. And so after that, you know, there's nothing else to worry about. Like, you figure everything out. And so I think you just gotta you know, lock in on that on a day-to-day basis, lose yourself in the game, and then you know, let the chips fall where they may. But I think if we do that, we'll be happy with the results, the outcome at the end of the day.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you.